to sweep something under the rug, to conceal or ignore a problem or issue instead of addressing it, to avoid dealing with an uncomfortable truth or situation. The company tried to sweep the allegations of workplace harassment under the rug. Politicians often try to sweep social inequality under the rug during election campaigns. We can't just sweep poverty under the rug. It needs to be addressed with concrete solutions. The government's attempt to sweep environmental concerns under the rug was met with public outcry. Ignoring mental health issues only sweeps them under the rug and exacerbates the problem. To turn a blind eye, to ignore or pretend not to notice something, especially wrongdoing or injustice. To choose not to acknowledge or address a problem or issue. Society often turns a blind eye to the struggles of the homeless population. Management turned a blind eye to the safety violations in the workplace. It's unacceptable to turn a blind eye to racial discrimination in our communities. The authorities turned a blind eye to the corruption within the organization. Neighbors turned a blind eye to the domestic violence happening next door. To bury one's head in the sand. To avoid or ignore unpleasant realities or problems. To refuse to acknowledge or confront a difficult situation. Ignoring the signs of economic inequality won't make the problem go away. We can't bury our heads in the sand. Politicians often bury their heads in the sand when it comes to addressing gun violence. He's burying his head in the sand by pretending that substance abuse isn't a problem. It's time to stop burying our heads in the sand and address the systemic racism in our society. Some people bury their heads in the sand when it comes to climate change. To be stuck between a rock and a hard place. To be faced with two equally difficult or unfavorable options. To be in a situation where there are no good choices and any decision will have negative consequences. Asylum seekers are stuck between a rock and a hard place when they flee violence in their home countries only to face harsh immigration policies elsewhere. Workers are often stuck between a rock and a hard place when they have to choose between low-paying jobs or unemployment. The government is stuck between a rock and a hard place, trying to balance the budget without cutting essential services. Many students feel stuck between a rock and a hard place when deciding whether to take on student loan debt or forego higher education. The family was stuck between a rock and a hard place when they couldn't afford health care for their child. To fall through the cracks. To go unnoticed or unaddressed, especially by systems or institutions that are meant to provide support or assistance. To be overlooked or neglected, resulting in a failure to receive necessary help or attention. Cases of domestic abuse sometimes fall through the cracks of the legal system, leaving victims vulnerable. Children from low-income families often fall through the cracks of the education system. Elderly people living alone can easily fall through the cracks if they don't have a support system in place. The homeless population often falls through the cracks of the healthcare system. Despite efforts to improve mental health services, many individuals still fall through the cracks and don't receive adequate care. To hit rock bottom. To reach the lowest possible point in a difficult or negative situation. To experience a significant downturn or crisis, often as a result of persistent problems or misfortune. The country's healthcare system hit rock bottom due to inadequate funding and resources. The family hit rock bottom after losing their home and jobs in the recession. After years of struggling with addiction, he finally hit rock bottom and sought help. The community hit rock bottom when the local economy collapsed. The environmental crisis has caused many cities to hit rock bottom in terms of air quality. To be in hot water. To be in trouble or facing criticism due to one's actions or decisions. To be in a difficult or challenging situation that may lead to negative consequences. Students can get in hot water for cheating on exams. The celebrity's offensive tweet landed them in hot water with their fans and sponsors. The politician found herself in hot water after making controversial remarks. He knew he'd be in hot water with his parents if they found out about his grades. The company is in hot water with regulators for violating environmental regulations. To rock the boat. To disturb or disrupt a stable or harmonious situation, often by challenging the status quo. To cause tension or controversy by questioning existing norms or practices. The new manager didn't want to rock the boat too much in her first week on the job. Scientists who challenge prevailing theories often rock the boat in their field. Employees were afraid to rock the boat by speaking out against unfair working conditions. The activist group aimed to rock the boat by organizing protests against government policies. In a conservative community, expressing progressive views can rock the boat. To be at a crossroads. To be at a point where one must make an important decision that will significantly impact the future. To be facing a critical juncture or turning point in one's life or circumstances. When faced with a health crisis, individuals often find themselves at a crossroads, deciding how to move forward. After graduating from college, she found herself at a crossroads, unsure of which career path to choose. As a society, we're at a crossroads in terms of addressing climate change. The country is at a crossroads politically, with voters divided on key issues. The company is at a crossroads and must decide whether to innovate or risk becoming obsolete. Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.